The issues at stake are very clear. Leo Varadkar, as Taoiseach in 2019, gave a confidential draft document, a contract worth €210 million that was still under discussion with the IMO, to his friend, who is the president of a rival organisation, on his request. Not through official channels, but through private text messages before deleting all traces of the correspondence. A friend of the Taoiseach requested a confidential government document by text message, and Leo delivered. End of. Had a civil servant done the same thing, it would constitute gross misconduct. It would trigger a disciplinary action, and it would be grounds for dismissal. And what are the consequences for the Tánaiste? Well, Fianna Fáil, the Green Party and Fine Gael believe that there should be no consequences, no sanction. Well, we disagree. The Tánaiste has crossed the line, and we are expected to just look away. Well, this isn't good enough. Truth be told, this is how Fine Gael does its business. The politics of the insider, the favour for friends, the access to power for those in high places. But that politics of the insider comes at a price for those who are on the outside. Just consider insurance. People are still being ripped off by extortionate premium costs. Why? Because the insurance industry sat down with Minister Paschal Donoghue and asked them to ensure that key sections of my legislation passed by these houses were blocked, and the Minister did as he was asked. Tens of thousands of mortgage holders have seen their homes, their mortgages sold to vulture funds. And the vultures asked Fine Gael to block legislation that I introduced that wouldn't allow for the sale of those mortgages without their consent, and Fine Gael did as they were asked. Because that's how power works for Fine Gael. One day they are tasked with holding vested interests to account, the next day they become the chief lobbyists on the other side. And just look at the record. A Fine Gael minister, Michael Darcy, spends 3 years in the Department of Finance, 3 years being lobbied by the fund industry, and 3 months after leaving the office, he becomes the chief lobbyist. Take the banks. Another Fine Gael minister, Brian Hayes, spent 3 years in the Department of Finance. Where is he now? The chief lobbyist for the banking and vulture fund industry. The revolving door keeps spinning. It is a pattern and a consistent one. It is the politics of Leo Varadkar. Those on the inside will always have his ear. Now, the Tánaiste's excuse for leaking these confidential documents simply doesn't hold up. He claims that it was some part of a mastermind strategy to get the contract over the line. But strategy requires initiative, and this wasn't his initiative. This was his friend who requested this document from the Minister for Health, and the Minister for Health refused to give it to him because it was confidential. But Leo delivered for his friend. When he was asked to get it, Leo obliged. In secret, without telling anybody, covering his tracks, deleting the correspondence. He claims that leaking the document was part of a strategy to engage with the NAGP, but we know that there was no engagement with the NAGP by government or the Department of Health. Indeed, the only engagement was when Leo Varadkar took a confidential document, stuck it in the post and gave it to his friend, who was the head of the rival organisation to the IMO. And he says that the agreement was in the public domain, but it wasn't. Every single one of the 130 pages had stamped across it confidential, not for circulation, and we know that there was at least 35 further changes. Leo Varadkar has been caught red-handed. He leaked confidential, commercially sensitive government information to a friend. He and his government colleagues think he is above accountability, but he isn't, and he shouldn't be. So the question here in this House is, are we going to stand for this? Are we going to allow for this kind of cosy insiders club to continue, or are we going to vote for accountability, because we in Sinn Féin have no confidence in this Tánaiste?
Thank you very much.